Hello, YouTuber boomers. 21st of July, and yeah. So today I was working on my speaker problem on my Chevy Traverse 2009. As I talked to you guys before, I put some speakers in the back. So I decided to do was order new speakers for the front too, and so that way, because I really like the sound in the back now. But the problem now with the ones in the back are that they're too soft because the speakers I put back there, I also have in the Traverse. There's seating for 3 rows: the front seat, the back seat, and then there's a third row in the back. And if you get the top of the line Traverse, the the LT2. You got a sunroof, you got a tow hitch with the cooling on the transmission. You get a whole bunch of bells and whistles. Lots of sunroof. Yeah, I said that already. But you also get the stereo with the Bose amplifier, and you get 3 more speakers. Well, wait a minute, 5 more speakers because there's 2 on the column, 1 up where there's on my car, there's a little storage bin on the dashboard, and there are 2 in the back where the third row seating is. If you have people in the third row seating in my car, um, they can't really hear the radio. You have to turn the radio up for them to hear the radio, and then they can't hear you talk to them. So now you turn the radio down to talk, back up for them to, yeah, you know how it is. So what I did is I installed 4-inch speakers, and you can get the panel. They got a grill that snaps in. There was $11 from the dealership for each one, which is unbelievably cheap considering dealership parts. Other things that I want are astronomical. These were only 11 bucks. Um, I got 4-inch kickers, which I really kind of like kickers. I don't know a lot about speakers, but I've been kind of happy with the kicker brand. And I ran the wire down and hooked it up in parallel with the rear door speakers, figuring that if the rear door speakers ever go out, I still have speakers in the back, and it also saves me from running wire all the way up to the front of the car. So, which I would still have to put them somewhere because I don't have an amp. If I had an amp, then you'd have to run them to the amp. So they're in parallel with the rear doors. So when I put these speakers in, a lot of that power now has to dissipate between those 4 speakers instead of the 2 normally. So I decided to do is I got a lesser powered kicker, same size, to go theoretically in the front door speaker. And then I changed the mount. I changed the speakers around so that the lesser power required speaker goes into the rear doors, and the ones that I took out move them up to the front. When I order them from Crutchfield, I have to specify whether they're the front door or the back door because the mount that they give you is for that speaker that goes into the different locations. So the front door speaker actually sits out from the wall by an inch or so. Actually, the ones that come from GM, they sit out about um, 2 inches. I don't know if I showed them to you. Probably didn't show them to you in the video, but they actually have a fairly thick cowling to fit it to move the speaker all the way out to the cover. And the cover actually has a fairly amount of depth in the cover on the door. So interestingly enough, the speakers that I ordered that are going into the front with the front um, mounts, those speakers didn't fit the mounts that I had for the back door. So if I knew all this in advance, like the next traverse I do, if I do a friend's traverse or something like that, or somebody's watching this video, I would suggest that you order 4 speakers for the front door of the 2 pairs for the front, and you're going to get these 2 cowling mounts that actually fit just like the GM speaker fits, which has a little Barbie thingy that clips into the door, and then the top part has this one screw that screws into the panel, and it actually fits. You don't have to drill anything. Whereas the back ones, you have to drill it into the frame and mount the plastic cowling where the speaker mounts. You mount the speaker into the cowling and then the cowling in the door. But unfortunately, when I swapped speakers, the other speaker didn't actually fit the plastic mount for the rear door. I hope everyone's following me this. Are you paying attention? There's going to be a test at the end of this video, so pay attention. So essentially, I couldn't use the plastic mounts for the lesser speaker. Now, the lesser speaker, the speaker that I bought last week was $55 a pair on sale. I didn't realize they were on sale. Well, I went to lower them again this week. They were $65. Or might even been $69. I don't know. I think they were $15 more, so that would have been $69.99. So almost $70. So I decided not to order it. I wasn't paying $15 more. So I ended up getting the kicker that is the same size. It just has a lower power need. And I put those into the back, and I had to just, mount them up onto the metal and screw them in, drill holes and screw them into the frame. And it went much quicker because I'd already done the harness and all stuff. So it was just the matter about the fun part about getting the door cover off. That's the real challenge of the world. So that worked out pretty good. I noticed a difference right away. Actually, I was working with the radio on, and I noticed a big difference between the two. So if I were to do it again, I would order those other speakers for all 4 doors. So else? So anyway, I mounted the speakers with the more power to the front door, put the cowling and put that in, and put my cover back on. The left door, I remember the left door was the one that wasn't working. I thought it was the speaker, I thought it was the radio. And so I got it all back on there, and I don't know why, but I whacked this cover on the side of the Traverse. You're sitting in the driver's seat. On the very side of the console, the dashboard, there's a cover. And I think on the probably on the LT2, there's probably a vent there that blows air up onto your windshield. It probably blows air in through some channel through the door to warm up the side mirrors. I would imagine that's another feature. It blows air through a duct that ends up to the side mirrors and keeps the side mirrors defrosted or free of ice, which I can tell you, as we all know, those things freeze up really well. So I just whapped it for whatever reason. And when I whapped it, my speaker turned on. Oh, ooh, wow. So I finished putting that cover back on. I took that cover off, and there was a harness. Now that harness there is actually the speaker harness coming from the radio. I finally figured out there's one extra wire in there. There's 9 wires in the connector, or 9 wires in there. So there's a wire in there that goes somewhere else. But they're all the speakers in the car, and they run through there. They run down. It goes to that door, and then goes into the floor, and it goes to the other door, and blah, 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 runs around the car that way. So I unplugged that harness. I realized it because I unplugged the harness and I lost all 4 speakers. So I know that that's probably the case. Then I fiddled with it, yanked it, unplugged it, plugged it back in, couldn't reduplicate the whap, whap, whap. Cover back on, go whap, 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 and nothing. So, this is making a long story short, I know. Too much talk. So, I ended up finishing up the speakers because that's the real pain in the ass part. And no, actually what I did is I took the bezel off around the radio and I reached down my hand underneath the radio and felt the plugs in the back and I pushed the plug into the thing that holds the speakers wires into the radio, and lo and behold, my speakers started working again. So I did the other 2 speakers on the other side of the car, got all that done, and then I came back, pulled the radio out, started looking at the connector, and the connector that pops in, the connector with the little tabby poo that hooks into the connector that's in the radio, was actually assembled wrong. So it didn't actually catch the tabby poo, didn't catch into the Nachi poo on the radio, and it would vibrate loose, which is kind of amazing because I've had that in there now for probably since the beginning of the year. Sometime last fall when I put in that, it was actually the iSimple module cable, the iSimple assembly that I put into the car so that I can have, I can use my phone to make phone calls through the car's speaker system versus using the much higher expensive whatever it's called. I can't think of what it's called. But the one from GM from the radio, I haven't a clue. I can't remember. I cannot remember. OnStar. So, yeah. So I have the iSimple, and it's really great because I can stream music from my phone, which you couldn't do with OnStar, even if you could make phone calls on a cheap plan through them. I couldn't stream music from my phone through it. So the iSimple really works well, except the fact you have to run through another microphone for the car and use that microphone and stuff. So it was that connector that actually was assembled incorrectly and was pulling out. The little tabby poo was on the wrong side, so it really wasn't acting as a latch. So basically what I did, me being a technician that used to work on high expensive equipment, I took a couple of table ties, cut them short, stuck them down inside the connector and jammed the plug in there so that it would fit tight and not pop out. And then I took a little screwdriver and a little pliers as a hammer poo and tapped it in so it fits in there really tight and it'll be fine. And if it vibrates out, now I know, don't replace all 4 speakers, just pull the radio out and, you know, reseat the connector again. Ta-da! Easy peasy. 14 minutes, long video. I should put a message in the beginning, don't listen to it if you don't care about my car radio. Ta-ta!